How to find ARV in under 2 minutes. Guys, that seems like very far-fetched if you've listened to any real estate wholesaler in the past 2 or 3 years that, oh, ARV has to be perfectly calculated and everything great. But the honest dang truth here is, no, you can actually go out here. And I've said this many, many times. In under 120 seconds, heck, even a minute, you can go find your ARV. You can find the value of your next wholesaling deal really quick, because when you're going after ARV, a lot of you guys just, your calculations are insane and it's really destroying your wholesaling success. I think a lot of it's a knowledge issue. And so what we want to do is really share with you out of a lightning fast ARV, how to calculate repair cost in, let's see, about 15 seconds. And most importantly, how you can get to your MAO. But we're not going to be talking about MAO too much today because MAO is pretty stupid. And we're going to tell you what you should be focusing on instead. And really at the end of this video, what my point is, I'm trying to get everyone here out of this analysis paralysis thing. And as somebody that gets sent a lot of JV deals, if we, and all the deals coming in, like if we just sat there for 50 minutes, right? 55 minutes on every deal, what's the calculation of this? No, right? We check these deals, but I'm just letting you know when we get a deal, we're looking to make $20, $30, $40,000 on the deal. And we don't need to spend 15,000 hours checking it out. We also need 2 minutes to see if it's a good deal or not. And so what we're going to do is show you exactly our system for it. That's really quick, really simple, really fast. So you can do the same exact thing. If you're one of those just people that spend way too much time comping and all these things, we're going to cut it off today and get you some wholesaling success. So we're excited about this. We're going to help you out, guys, a lot today. And we're going to make you a lot more money in wholesaling real estate. So we're pumped up for this. So let's talk about this myth of ARV, right?
Yeah.
Like it's calculate. So from the top, what is ARV, right? Like what is your definition of it?
So I've heard multiple terminologies on it. So I hear after repaired value. I've heard after retail value. Like everybody just kind of makes up terms as they go. Honestly, ARV is probably the most misleading part about figuring out the value of a house. So ARV, does it mean, is it go in full rehab? Is it in like normal conditions? And that's the problem. A lot of people do ARVs to the tippy top of the scale of what the property should be. And in my opinion, just take that property under normal terms without all the huge repairs on it. And I would just do average wear and tear. But so many guys pick the highest ARV of a brand new renovated property. And I'm telling you, that's the hardest way. You guys already know, I told you, if you spend more than 10 minutes doing a comp, you're going to have a real problem in wholesaling, because comps, to get them perfect, you have to be a realtor, because that's how they make their money. We're somewhat guessing. And remember, if I have to break out a calculator, if I have to spend more than 10 minutes, I know I'm overpaying for the property. So you just start with that basic rules. But like ARV, like what's your definition of an ARV?
So ARV, guys, it's, I want you to know you are overcomplicating everything you've ever heard of wholesaling real estate. A guru's trying to make wholesaling confusing to you. A guru's trying to get you all stressed out. A guru's really trying to, right? What ARV really is, it stands for after repair value. And so let's kind of get over like these terms, right? After repair value. So that is what the property is worth in its best case scenario. It's its best condition, right? The fix or upper type value. And so if I see a house and I see what the value is of it, okay, if I poured 50 grand in repairs, which it needs, what it'll be worth.
Yeah.
And I know this sounds really stupid, right? But like, think of value. What is value? Value is basically what someone's willing to pay for something. That's the value of something, right? So what is a foot long from Subway? It's worth about $5 because people are willing to usually pay for it, right? Or $6, whatever it is, right? And so understanding that's what it is. So what is a house worth? It's worth what someone else is willing to pay for it. And that being said, if I know right now this property, I talk to buyers, they want to buy it for $120,000. But if I put $50,000 in repairs on it, it'll be worth $170,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that means the ARV, the after repair value, is $170,000. Now, here's the issue. A lot of you guys, and this is the vast majority of you wholesalers believe that this value, this ARV, is a perfect number. It is like it's like math. You guys are used to school, right? And school's really stupid for most of it. But like a lot of you guys are used to this, right? Here, find what X is, right? It's like 5X plus 2 equals 16. What's X, right? And people are like, okay, you do a calculation, and this is the exact number, right? And a lot of you guys truly believe from school when you're doing ARV, there's only one number, and that's the exact number. ARV is an estimate. It is not an exact number. It is, I hate to say it, it's a guess. It's a range.
It's a range. A range is the best way to describe it.
And what I mean by that is if I try to sell a deal and I talk to a cash buyer and I say, hey, Mr. Cash Buyer, how much do they pay for this property? One guy will tell me 125 grand. One guy will tell me 128 grand. One guy will tell me 100 grand. One dude will tell me 50 grand. And another guy will probably tell me 130.
Mm-hmm.
Are they all wrong? No, they're all right. It's a free market. We live in a capitalistic society when we're doing wholesaling, right? Yeah. It's just what someone's willing to pay for it. And so, yeah, if I sell it for 50, I guess it was worth 50. But if I sell it for 130, it's worth 130. But here's the issue. A lot of you wholesalers will try to sell it for 190. And you're getting offers for 120, 130, 125. Be like, they're all stupid. They don't understand. Yeah. No. If 15 buyers are all within 120 to 130 range, that's what the market price has basically determined for that thing. If you try to sell a vehicle, right? Let's say a 2020 Toyota Camry, they're going to sell between 15 and 20 grand, right? You're not going to sell it for 40. Some of you guys wholesalers will say, oh, I saw this Toyota sold for $100,000 and it was like a fancy Lexus. That's what you guys are doing. Like, oh, you're too like optimistic with this. And the truth is it's a guess in a range, but you can kind of get in a good range. It's like kind of doing a car, right? You guys have cars. You can kind of get a range of what the car is worth, right? Now, you can see what that car is worth if it's really nice with no miles and when it's like same thing. And here's why I'm using a car analogy on this is because everyone has sold pretty much a car before. Everyone understands how to get a value for a car, right? Yeah. Because if I was going to try to sell a Toyota Camry, what am I going to do? I'm going to look at other Toyota Camrys in the area that sold that are very similar, right?
I just pulled the Kelly Blue Book.
And that's it. Yeah. Like you guys don't go after the highest priced one and be like, okay, that's what I'm going to sell. No, you look for a range, right? And a lot of wholesalers don't do this. It's mind-boggling to me. But that's how you do it, okay? So most wholesalers, and I've always said this, they spend way too much time. They put way too much effort trying to do this. And within 2 minutes, you can do this. Like within 2 minutes, I can find the value of a car. Like it's pretty simple, right? You just see what they're listed for, what they're selling for, things like that, right? And cars, you actually don't get sold prices. You only get list prices. And like that's kind of the funny part. You're just putting way too much effort in. And so what we're going to do today is show you exactly how under 2 minutes you can find ARV and MAO quick, easy, and simple. And so let's just not waste time. Let's get in this straight into it. Now, number one, like a car or whatever, we have to identify the information. And what do I mean by this, right? We have a subject property. Hey, I want to sell this house. Okay. Well, let's look up the property, right? Now we have to identify the information. This is stupid simple, but a lot of you guys skip this part. And I think it's actually ridiculous you guys actually skip this part. But like, let's think about this for a second. When I look at a house, I need to know what the bed and baths are. We're not guessing things. Okay. Now this is one thing very important. Oh, it's a 5.3, right? I get some of these. It's 1,000 square feet and it's 5 bedrooms, 5 baths. Okay.
That's like a rat maze.
And so what some wholesalers do is, okay, let's look at other 5 bedrooms. Yeah. Oh, it's 1.4 million. It's no, it's really a 2-1 and the guy created more bedrooms in the property, right? And so what you have to understand is I like to go straight to the source. And so I like to go to the tax assessor and the tax, basically there's a property appraiser, there's a tax assessor site. They're all different names. Every county's got a different one. But basically it's the information the tax collector, when they get the taxes they get on the property. When they do it, they look at the house, they get the information, they get the listing. Because what you're going to find is you can get people that you're trying to find the square feet and they're like, I don't know, it's a square feet. I think it's 1,500. You think? And then you lock it up thinking it's 1,500, and then the buyer's like, it's really 1,000 square feet. Oh, and then the seller's like this. Well, I included the garage. So like, let's go to the next one. So bed and bathrooms. How many bedrooms? How many bathrooms? Simple as that. And if it's unpermitted, which means they added, let's say, for example, here it's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. And this is a Florida thing a lot, where basically they family members move in, like are older.
Port St. Lucie thing.
Well, it's all Florida. Miami has this.
Port St. Lucie likes to convert their garage as an extra bedroom.
Yes, Miami does this. Fort Lauderdale,
Yeah.
Orlando, they do it everywhere. And basically what this means is they'll take the garage, they'll seal it up, put an AC system in it, and be like, it's a 3-bedroom.
Yeah.
Now, you have to pay for a permit because there could be fires, electrical hazards, and all these things that people could actually pass away from if you don't do it the right way.
Yeah.
But people don't do that, right? And so they like, it's a 3-bedroom. Well, it wasn't permitted, so it doesn't count. And what you have to understand is, yes, that property does have 3 bedrooms technically if it got permitted, but it's also a property without a garage now. And so you plus an extra bedroom, but you minus off the garage. And so it's a neutral, okay? It's like 5 plus 1 is equal to 6, minus 1 is 5. Yeah. It's still 5. So the value of the property doesn't go up when they convert the garage because it loses a garage, which is actually valuable in a property. And just so you understand that. And
it looks like a garage with like carpeting down on it with like a window unit. It just, when end buyers see it, they're like, no. And you got to understand, as wholesalers, we get stuck with all these houses because they didn't pull the permits, they didn't do anything right. And then they're like trying to give you a 2-1 and tell you it's a 3-1.5. And you got to know when you do your comps that end buyers are going to see the same thing you do. Like you see a problem 9 times out of 10, when we get those types of house, the fix and flipper just converts it back to a regular garage. It's easier. It gets more value for the house. And so the bottom line is don't get stuck on the number of bedrooms. It doesn't really matter. Just doesn't matter at all.
No. Right. And so what I mean by this is if you're getting this, you just have to you have to be kind of smart with it. That's kind of the best way for me to explain this. And so also what I mean by this, and this is really important. And so like, I know I'm just trying to explain this the right way. So if the garage is converted, you're going to get sellers. All right. They're going to say this, and we have to really understand this with our ARV and stuff, right? The property goes from a 2-1, which is 1,000 square feet, to a 3-1, which is 1,200 square feet. And they want to sell the house like it's a 1,200 square foot house. What you must understand here is, yes, it is 1,200 square feet, but it doesn't have a garage. So you have to minus it off. And so what you need to do, and this is controversial, and this is what we've always done, is what it originally was, that's what it's worth.
That's it.
Comp it as a 2-1 that's 1,000 square feet. Even if it's 1,200, you have to minus off no garage. And so just treat it as a 2, whatever the taxes originally had it as, do it like that. I think that's where a lot of wholesalers starting out, they have sellers try to screw them.
Or you know why people try to add square footage? Because realtors, they use a trick like, what's the cost per square? $150, $200 a square foot.
We're going to get into that. Yeah. And so you just got to be careful with this. And so the next part here is actually looking at the square footage. Now, I want to make sure everyone understands this. Square feet is a very, very, very wrong data set your sellers are going to give to you. I would say, and this doesn't seem like all that, but it's a lot, about 15 to 20% of your sellers are going to be completely off on the square footage. Not their fault, but what they're going to do is they're going to go on Zillow, which is about 400 square feet off, because they pull an API from the tax. And under air and non-under air, like it all gets confused. And so Zillow says 1,500 square feet. They just assume it's 1,500, when it's really 1,200. But the porch with the API, Zillow just assumed the porch was not a porch. Yeah. It was and so the seller thinks it's 1,500 square feet. Now, if you go to the property appraiser, you go to the deed, you go all these things, it's really not 1,500 square feet. It's actually 1,200. And so the seller's going to tell you it's 1,500 square feet. And then you get an offer to them that's 1,500 square feet. They look at comps that are 1,500 and they get screwed up in their mind. What you really need to do is find the actual square footage, not what Zillow says, not what Realtor.com says, heck, not what PropStream says sometimes, right? Go to the actual property appraiser site, the tax assessor that has a sketch of the entire property, and just look at what it says. That will actually show you the true, real one.
Guys, and that's the only one you want to believe, because that's what's on record. And sometimes properties get listed, and then like what realtors do, I've learned the hard way, is once a property gets listed once on MLS, regardless if it winds up being a wholesale deal or not, everybody just copies the information. So one realtor gets it wrong, it's like in there for life. And when you tell homeowners that's not the square footage, they usually get very confrontational with you. There's two types of definitions on your property appraiser site you have to look at. One is called UA, which means under air, and the other one is UR, which is under roof. Now, under roof is going to be proportionally bigger than what's under air because it's going to any overhangs, any patios, anything like that. So always calculate under air. If you calculate under air off the property appraiser site, you now have the truth. If it's right or wrong, it doesn't matter. That's what it has to be priced out, because to change it in the tax records takes a long time. So if we're buying it right now, even in the next few months, I have to go what's off the property records. And guess what? If they're different, then they need to go to the city and they need to apply for the permits and get it correctly. It's not my problem. So guys, go to the property appraisers under air, UA. A lot of sellers will mislead you and put the under roof. They'll include the garage. Garage is under roof. That's not something that we evaluate when we do it. Does it have a garage or not? Does it have a pool or not? They are yes or no. So you got to go through, you got to compare apples to apples when you do this. It's so important. Property appraiser site. Don't take Zillow. Don't take MLS. Don't take Trulia. Go to the site.
So just we're going to be very clear. Just do that. That's the best way to do it. Now, next thing we calculate is we want to know the property age. This is very important. Now, this is really easy. Like you pop out the property appraiser, all this info's there. Okay. Like it's all there. All right. And that's just when was the property built. Then we look at property type. And what I mean by that, it's not just a Florida thing. Every place has this. We want to know, do we have a house built in 1854 in Pennsylvania? Or do we have like a concrete structure, new construction in Yuma, Arizona? Right? We got to understand this because we got to compare them, right? And so now we get all the information. What we do is step 2. It's just really simple. We compare, all right? Or what we call comps. And so comps is short for comparables. Simple. And so now I got a list of what my property is, what the subject property is, and we're going to look at very similar ones. And so if I have a 1,000 square feet, that is, let's say, a wood frame house built in the 80s, I'm going to look at very similar ones. Now, a lot of people, they have these crazy rules for comps and all these, like, I'm just being honest with you, screw all that stuff. Really what you have to understand is you're just getting a range. Like you can't be perfect on this thing. And I use a lot of logic when I look at things. And so when people send me deals live and like on these live streams and stuff, and I really talk to them, they'll send me the most trash deals. And what I mean by that is like, they'll send me a deal they locked up for $320, and the ARV is $340 and needs $50,000 in repairs. It's just like, and it takes me 5 seconds to figure this out. So I'm like, oh, wow, this is a trashed house and really nice houses are selling for $380 and it needs all this work. This is a terrible deal. And so like, I can do these things 2, 3, 4 minutes, like no problem. And under 2 minutes, like if it's in a market that I know, under 2 minutes. Now, if it's in a market, like you send me a deal in San Diego, it's going to take me like 3 or 4 extra minutes just because I'm not used to that market. But like, if it's a market I'm used to, under 2 minutes, especially for you guys doing, it's simple. Comparison. That's all we do. And so how do I find comps? If you got no money, I would say, and this is just humbly my opinion, you got no cash, Zillow is going to be your best option. When I was starting on wholesaling real estate 7+ years ago, there's no fancy prop stream softwares. There might have been prop stream. I didn't have the money for it. I just went on Zillow. Went to realtor.com, right? Like nothing fancy, okay? And they have really good salts. Now, you might be in a state that is a non-disclosure state, which we'll show at the end of this, where no, this information's not there. And you might need to use a service like listria.com or zacdata.com that actually has MLS data and access. DMZac.com's got that info too, and you can find it from there too. And so like if you're in a non-disclosure state, you can use PropStream, zacdata.com. But basically what a non-disclosure state is, it's a state that doesn't disclose the sold price, which is kind of weird. Now, I'm all for non-government intervention and stuff, but like you kind of have to know that because you have to see if your tax assessor is actually wrong or not, right? It's public information, but the deeds are public, but they don't disclose it. It's only on the MLS, which is stupid. But if you're a non-disclosure state, that's going to be Alaska, Idaho, Kansas, Some counties in Missouri, Mississippi, Louisiana, Wyoming, Utah, Texas. Let me just show you the map really quick. Make it quick. Proption makes it actually pretty simple to look it up. Here we go. Let me show you what a non-disclosure states are. And so these are going to be the non-disclosure states really quick. Basically, that don't disclose it. And so we got Alaska, Idaho, Kansas, Missouri, some counties, Mississippi, Louisiana, Wyoming, Utah, Texas, North Dakota, New Mexico, Montana. The rest are disclosure. And so for the majority of wholesalers, Kansas is going to be big, Texas and Louisiana, right? For like most metro markets, Texas is the big one. And now if you're in Houston, Texas, I want to give everyone a quick tip. HAR.com. If you're in Houston, is probably the best way to get free comps in Houston. If you're in Dallas, you're kind of out of luck there, but it's a good range. If not, you can use listari.com, zachdaddy.com. They're really good ones for there. But like, then we get some comparables, right? We look for other 2 1s. We look for other 3 1s. It's not that complicated. What I like to do is look for the past year. This is controversial opinion, and this is something I'm going to attack for very, very hard for, but it's true. If I have a comp that's 2 years old and it's the one next door and it's the same exact house, use that and then just take a market adjustment. Exactly. I know it's crazy to say, but like that is the perfect, the one next door, same exact property, right? And you can kind of do a market comparison or change on it, but like it's probably one of the best comps you can get.
Yeah, I mean, guys, one of the biggest things when you're comping for wholesaling, you can't go out hunting. What I mean by hunting is you're trying to find a comp to justify what you paid the seller for. If you find yourself hunting, you need to reevaluate how you do wholesaling, because you can always find something to justify your story. I don't even care what it is, but when it comes to comping, it's used to tell you if you have a deal or not. And sometimes the truth is right in front of you. You just won't recognize it. So learn how to make the right offers. We'll talk about it. But most likely when your sellers tell you like this is the range and you went out hunting for a comp, you've got a problem. You need to fix it. Guys, do not spend a lot of time. I always say if you spend more than 10 minutes, actually 2 minutes is what I prefer, because either I got a deal or I don't. If I have to try to like squeeze a million things in and make a deal, that's not wholesaling, guys. And you need to be aware of it.
Yeah, I've said this a long, long time, but you just got to don't squeeze it. Just find the ones that are good and you're going to go there, right? And then the next part is you kind of make a rough price per square footage. Like that's just pretty standard. And so if I see a property sold for $200,000, 1,000 square feet, it's going to be about $200 a square foot. Yeah, simple, right? And then I look at the other ones, I kind of get the average and then multiply that by mine.
Do you ever wonder when a investor or wholesaler says, I'm using conservative comps? This isn't a political statement, guys. The idea is if I got a healthy chunk of comps, similar size, similar areas, similar make, in the perfect world, I'm going to take the highest comp and throw it out, but then you got to take the lowest comp and throw it out. And then from there, you come up with a range. And so if I have a range from 210 to 190, you know what my comp is? It's 190. But a lot of you guys say it's 230, 250. And for the record, when you guys sit there and fluff, when you're trying to offer a JV or have someone do it with you and you fluff the high range of the comp, you immediately discredit yourself. You look terrible when you do it. Because if you don't think a JV partner like me and Zach are going to look at the numbers, the other thing is too, is when you go, listen, I got this deal under contract for 200 grand smoking, it's worth 400. You better make sure you know what the repairs on it, because if you think we're just going to ignore the repairs, eventually it's going to come out. So conservative means take the lower, because listen, I'd rather you make more money than less. But if you go with the aggressive comp and you miss, you could actually get in big trouble in wholesaling. So simplify. I always told you if you have to whip out a calculator, you probably don't have a deal.
Oh yeah. So just understand, make a rough price per square foot. And then from there, you can kind of calculate a rough ARV. Now, we're going to get into MAO and things like that. We got to find our repair cost. And so what I'm going to do is go into freewholesaling.com. Let me just let everyone know. Let's go back here. All right. I have it's a website. It's called freewholesaling.com. It's my free course where I teach you wholesaling. I could charge you $5,000 for it. And a lot of people pay for it every single day, but I give it out for free. You know why? Because I'm not a broke wholesaling guru. Now, let's look at this. When I go to freewholesaling.com, let's go here. Let's share my screen. I'm not gonna reveal all of freewholesaling.com because you got to be in there, right? But if you go to freewholesaling.com, you go here, you go to ARV. Huh, that's interesting.
ARV, huh?
And we scroll down and we have basically our repair sheet, right? And so, like, I mean, for example, here, I have a whole breakdown of this where I'm sharing exactly how to do the repair costs, right? And I only pull up properties that are on the good side, bad side, but like, here's the repair cost sheet. Actually, can I just open a new tab? Yeah, I think I can do that. Let's pop this up. There we go. So this is the repair cost worksheet. We're going to update it for 2023. Sorry, 2024.
Inflationary pressures?
I'm not really. I mean, inflation's pretty cooled down. But freewholesaling.com, this is basically the repair cost worksheet. Screenshot this, or just go to freewholesaling.com. It's all in there for you to download. But basically, if you have a property, this is really roughly the repair cost. It should take you 5 seconds to do this. And, oh, my guru said, I don't care what your bro guru said. This is roughly what they're going to be. Now, I know this is a very general range, but we're just trying to get a general comp, just a general feel for it, right? I will tell you, light repairs, any property is going to be at least 15 grand if it's 1,500 square feet or below. Most of them, right? Even with updating. Medium, 25 grand. Heavy, 60 grand. Then it kind of goes up from there based on the square footage. Now, let me emphasize this. This is very, very important, okay? This is one of my biggest, I would say, pet peeves with wholesalers. I had one person say, Zach, this house needs 0 repairs. It is turnkey, ready to go. And I feel like people think repairs, and I know it's in the name, does anything need to be repaired on it? No, not really. Well, what you need to do then is then your comps have to show only properties that are not updated. Right? And so updating is part of the repairs because it's an aesthetic repair. And so a lot of you wholesalers have a nice clean house, but the house looks like it's from 1974. And so, and then I'm like, well, the kitchen's really old. The bathroom looks nasty. It's clean, but it looks really old. It needs to be updated, right?
Yeah. A house needs to be updated about every 20 years to get to an ARV level. So sometimes you go in a house and it doesn't need a repair. You're like, no, it's clean. But if you walk in a house and it looks like a time capsule, like when you were a kid, it probably needs updating. Period. Because remember, your customer, which is the cash buyer, his or her job is to bring it up to modern times, make the investment, and then that's how they get the return. So you got to reflect it because either way, your cash buyer is going to walk in and they're going to see exactly what you do. So figure and calculate the numbers so you can make an offer accordingly.
And so just to understand, guys, a lot of you wholesalers like, oh, we need 0 repairs. One guy told me, you need about $3,000 in repairs. That's it. I'm like, dude.
3,000, yeah.
Dude, I don't know a house that only needs $3,000 unless it's brand new. If the house is older than 2 years, $3,000 is a joke. Okay. And just so understanding this, we gotta repairs. There's always going to be repairs. I hate to tell you this. All right. And the truth is a lot of you guys have this mindset in your mind and I don't blame you for it, but you are very optimistic. You want in your heart the house that you locked up for $100,000 to be worth $300,000 and make $200,000, right? Everyone wants that. But what you need to do is find the reality, okay? Find the reality. So you guys are going to go, oh, well, you know what? I'm going to make the repair cost a little less than it really is. I'm going to we're going to make find the really good comps. I see some comps that are showing that I'm only going to make 10. No, we're going to skew it. The cash buyer, he's going to look at my comps. He ain't going to do it himself. And he's going to be like, wow, I can pay Zach $70,000, right? And I'm going to no, guys.
Cash buyers don't do that, guys. They do their homework. And honestly, if you think you're fooling someone, you're only fooling yourself. Get it right, get it under contract at the right price, and leave some money so a cash buyer can make money. But if he has to outdate it, you understand, like these people sometimes spend 6 to 12 months every waking day, 7 days a week fixing up these properties. We're getting in and out as wholesaler because we're smart. Yeah. And that's what you need to do. But like when you pick the highest comp and the lowest repair, you just waste your own time. Mm-hmm. The only person you're fooling is yourself. Money is smart. Cash buyers are going to see they're going to see more than you ever do. and they're still going to negotiate. But like when you don't give them the accurate numbers, it's problematic.
No, but basically what I mean by this is you're not going to go out here and find what makes you feel good. You have to find the true reality of the property. And a lot of you guys are so distant from the reality of the house. It's bad. I see a lot of wholesaling gurus out here that tell you to do 70% of the ARV. And that's really a terrible way to do things because buyers are willing to pay way more than that. It's not 1942 anymore. Okay. It's not 1988. A lot of your wholesaling gurus stopped wholesaling in 2004. And so what I mean by this is you have to get the updated stuff that's actually working now. And so a lot of, I see gurus are saying it's ARV times 70% minus repairs, minus your wholesale. Don't even start on the wholesale fee because the wholesale fee thing upsets me because I'm minimum 40 grand. No, I've done $1,000 deals. I don't care. I've done $500 deals and I've done $100,000+ deals. Every deal is different. But what I'm trying to let you guys know is you have to find the reality of the situation. You have to, like I've said before, remove your emotion from this because your emotion wants you to make the most for it, right? Logically, what are similar properties going for? All right. Because you might find the $40,000 Toyota Camry, like, that's what my house is worth. And that's what you do. And then you get stuck on that number. And then the cash buyer's like, you're stupid, man.
Yeah.
And here's the reason why I'm saying this is because if you're the guy that locks up a deal for 100 and you can calculate logically it's worth 125 to a buyer and you sell it for 125 and you make 25 grand, you're good. Buyer's going to like that, right? And then they fix it up. They make 50 grand. It's a win-win for everyone, right? Or you're the guy that tries to sell it for 160. And then every buyer, you send him like 15 of those deals. He's like, okay, this Rick guy, he's the boy that cried wolf. He always sends me terrible deals. I'm going to lose my butt on every deal that Rick sends me. Guess what happens when you get the really, really good wholesaling deal? Oh my God, this is a great deal for you. I didn't want to look at like, you're just going to screw me. You're not going to make me like, he's the boy that cried wolf. Or, okay, wow, Rick. Oh, I've actually made some money with Rick. Wow. He sends me good deals. When he sends me a deal, I'm actually going to look at it.
Yeah. It goes
guys,
faster.
a lot of you guys are the boy that cried wolf. And if you have 15 good buyers and you screw all of them in the beginning, try to send them just really crappy, bad, trash deals, your buyers are not even going to care what you do. It's literally the boy that cried wolf in wholesaling. And so what I mean by this is if you start skewing your numbers the wrong way because of your emotions, no buyer's going to take you seriously.
You're only tricking yourself. In our local markets, a lot of our virtual markets, we have a list of wholesalers we just won't work with. Why? Because everything they give us is a lie. And they just ruin their reputations. Even if Zach says, even if they got a good deal, like we don't want to do it because we don't know what we're dealing with. So you just waste a lot of time and energy. And like we always preach, if you just do stuff the right way up front, you'll actually get more traction. You'll make more money. But trying to trick people and fool them and just fooling yourself.
You can't be doing this, guys. And the reason why I'm doing this is because when I get sent these JV deals, man, like you guys expect me to do something magic. And so you get a deal locked up for 100 and it ain't worth a penny over 90 grand. And you're like, it's worth this. It's not. And so what I'm telling you guys, you just got to really get your numbers. And I feel like that's one thing these gurus are really bad at because they're stuck in like 1940s math. I don't know why, but like it just, they don't know it really. So when you actually sell wholesaling deals around the country and not just one market, you understand that ARV minus repairs, like it's and so I'm going to teach you what my MAO formula is because the next step here is calculate MAO. Now, let me say this again, and for the gurus in the back watching this, because they all watch my stuff, MAO is your max allowable offer. That's the most you should offer. That is your break-even point. And so you want to be below MAO. So if MAO is 100, I lock it up for 40, I make 60 grand profit. Pretty simple, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now, what is MAO? MAO is what a cash buyer is willing to pay for. That is basically what it is. So when I ask you guys on a live stream, what's a cash buyer going to pay you on this? That's what MAO is, but like I'm just being to the point. And remember, this is simple math, okay? If Sally buys an apple from the store for $1 and Fred wants to buy it for $2, I make $1 profit. And so if Fred can only give her 50 cents for the apple, she should not be buying that apple for $1. She would lose money.
Correct.
And so what I say is, hey, Johnny, what did you get the property under contract for? Okay, what is Sally willing to pay for it? That's less than what you have under contract for. Not good. Easy, right? Simple. And so you guys really overcomplicate things. Oh, you got the perfect numbers. It's simple. And so what is someone willing to pay? So what is a house worth again? What somebody else is willing to pay for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's kind of get this here. What is ARV again? ARV is after repair value. It is what the house is worth when you fix it up. It looks nice. Think of HGTV. The way I look at ARV, and this is kind of a controversial statement, I look at a house and I say, what would I have to do to this house for my sister or my mom to be okay living in it? And what I mean by that is we make a lot of money. And so our family's used to, nice house, right? Updated, clean, right? Like things like that, right? And so, I love my mom, but like she wants a nice place to live, right? She wants a nice place to live. And so like there's a raggedy carpet and it's not updated. She ain't going to want to live there, right? She wants a nice kitchen, right? So like, and so what I mean by that is, okay, to get it to like the standards that like she'd want, like I have to do this, and like think of HGTV, like think of all these like fancy house flipping shows, right? That's what it is. And so that is ARV. So if I fix up the house and do all the, it would be worth about $200,000. All right. And now usually these deals are 300-400, right? But like, let's do 200. Okay. And so this house I've calculated needs about 50 grand in repairs, flooring, AC, all these things. It's a median repair, right? Okay. Needs 50 grand. That means if I bought the house, let's understand this, for 100, let's say if I bought the house for $150,000, I put $50,000 in repairs, it would be worth about $200,000, which here's the problem. I'm just going to break even, make $0 on this deal. That's a terrible deal for me, right? I'm a cash buyer. I want to buy it, put 50 grand and make a profit. And so cash buyers want a discount on the deal. And that basically means is, what is ARV minus repairs? So let's deconstruct this. And no guru ever does this. ARV, after repair value, right? So let's get rid of the after repair. All right, let's get rid of the repairs. What is, when you take AR out of ARV, what does that equal? V.
Yeah, just the value.
So ARV, get rid of ARV, value. And so what that means is, what is the house worth right now? That's what that's what ARV minus repairs is. ARV minus repairs, you just take the AR out of the V. That is what the value is right now. What I mean by value is, what's value? What somebody is willing to pay for it. That is what it is. And so a cash buyer is willing to pay ARV minus repairs. That is what, not a cash buyer, what the market's willing to pay. So if a house is 200 grand ARV and needs 50 grand in repairs, it's worth about 150 grand right now, right? Here's the cool part. If you throw the property on the market, you'll probably get offers for 150 all day, every day. But you got realtors, you got fees, you got all this stuff. Now a cash buyer would probably, he knows the value is 150 grand. But considering he has to put 50 grand in it, he wants to make a profit, he's got to put the work in it, he's going to want a discount. He wants below the value of the house? Yes.
Yeah.
So what we do as wholesalers,
you got to do the work,
is we put the property under contract for a deep discount. So let's say this is the value. We put it for a deep discount, and then we sell it to a cash buyer for a discount. And then the in between is what we make.
We are the deep.
Yes. And then the discount, the service level discount goes to the buyer. And what that means is buyers like to buy for a discount, but we get a deeper discount and then we sell it to them. And so because every buyer wants a discount because they want to make a profit. Duh. And so we look at ARV minus repairs. That's the value of the house. And then we just take a discount off of that and then just sell it to the buyer, right? And what you have to understand is your guru says it's ARV. Okay, what the house is worth in its best day. Discount off of that. And then you take the repairs. What? And then you take your whole, what are you talking about? Like, and so how actual the real world works, not guru land, right? Because guru land is like, people, you know what? My coaching program is worth $20,000. It is worth $20,000 to hear from me. No. They're a little crazy in the head. And so how do they believe this stuff? I don't understand it. But ARV minus repairs, and they multiply that by the discounted rate. And so depending on the value of the house, there's different discounts. And I know I've been just saying things. I'm a visual guy, so I need to see visuals too. You go here. This is my ARV formula. Pretty simple, pretty easy. let's get rid of this part on here, right here. And so this is it. ARV minus repairs. So if a house has an ARV below 120 grand, Memphis, Macon, Georgia, yes, it is about ARV minus repairs multiplied by 70%. That is exactly to a T what the property's MAO is, what a buyer is willing to pay for it. Okay? Simple. Easy, simple as that, right? Now, if it's about 120, 200, about 80%, 83 at 200 to 275, then 85% of 300K plus, right? And you're going, I don't believe you. Well, when we sell deals for the ARVs 500, 600,000, 50% discount, still $70,000, $80,000 in profit. Like they love that stuff. They eat that stuff up for dinner. Okay. Like, are you kidding me? And so we basically just do the calculations for that. About 85% is the most. Then you get multi-millions. It might be 86. Like it's crazy, but it is completely true. And so do not do this stupid ARV, then take a discount off of that minus, because it's insane to me, because repairs and ARV go together. It's literally in the word ARV, repair. You have to take the repair out of it. That's how I'm able to sell my deals and make big profits for that, right? And so just letting you know, screw your wholesaling guru. They're broke. They're stupid. They don't know what they're talking about. I can't stand them. I'm just saying that is what it really is. And so if you want to be guru trained, you're going to get guru results. And this is the one thing I've said before, and everyone don't like me ranting about guru sometimes, but it's true. If you do guru things, you get guru results. What I mean by that is, if you're really off by your numbers and you sell to a buyer, they're going to be like, okay, this dude's stupid. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And then you're going to be the boy that cried wolf. Simple. And the reason why I do this too is this is the formula we teach our people for underwriting. We teach people like all over that work for us and everything. You know why? I'm saying this like nicely for you guys. Like, I'm thinking about like new wholesalers too. It's so simple that an idiot can do it. Like you can be completely like not know one thing about real estate, but like if you just follow this, it's idiot proof. And I call it Zach proof because I'm dumb with things sometimes, right? It's Zach proof, right? Yeah. Like anyone can get that. And like I can get my friend who doesn't know anything about real estate, I can just show him this, like, oh, okay. And then he can just, it's easy for him, right? Yeah. Because I just have simple rules and he follows it, right? A lot of you guys like to overcomplicate things and get the calculations. And the reason why I'm stressing this so much is because we got to get the MAO as a range. And now let me say something that's going to hurt a lot of feelings. It's going to trigger you guys. Your cash buyer is going to come up with their own MAO. Let me repeat myself. Your cash buyer is going to come up with their own MAO. Oh my God. And what I mean by this is you are not going to go convince your cash buyer the value of the house, because you know what value is? Like I've been hammering home to you guys. It's what someone's willing to pay for it. All right. And so you're not going to go in here like, okay, well, this is the comp, this is the comp, this is the comp, this is the comp. The repairs are this and this. And then here's the cash buyer going to say, well, I flipped 100 houses in the past year. I know exactly how much flooring is going to cost me. I know I have my own repairs because I have my own team and I know exactly what things are going to cost, right? That's what they're going to say. So yeah, I appreciate you, John, who's 18 years old, who's never bought a house in his life. I appreciate you trying to calculate the repairs, but like he's going to humbly say, I have my own repair costs. And yeah, I like the comps you've shown, but you skipped some of these that I actually care about more, right? Yeah. I'm going to do my own ARV. And what he's going to do is he has his own little formula. What his formula is actually what the real formula really is. He's going to be like, okay, if I buy it for this, I pour this in, what's the ARV, right? And he literally does ARV minus repairs. And he sees, okay, this is ARV minus repairs. He's going to put 150 on for that example. And he's going to say, okay, so it's 150 is going to be my ARV minus repairs. Now he's going to say, actually, no, he's going to do 200 minus my repair cost, whatever it's going to be, let's say 40. That's 160. How much do I buy it for? 110. All right. He does the calculation there. He's like, okay, I can make about 30 grand on this. Yes, do it. Yeah. Or he'll do it, say, I'm only make 15 grand, right? He's going to do his own numbers, which you're not going to do. It's going to be a little more complicated. He's going to spend an hour doing it, not you.
Because if you put your own numbers on there and then your cash buyer debunks them, he or she's not buying from you. So you actually do a disservice by putting comps up there. The comps will always speak by themselves. If you show them or not, the only comp I would ever put on if I was like technically trying to prove value is maybe the house 2 doors down. Like if it's in that block and it's the exact same one, then you point them. But if you keep pointing them and your comps and you're reaching, you're hunting, like we talked about earlier, it will blow up in your face. We're not realtors, guys. Cash buyers are going to figure out what their MAO is, and they're not going to pay past that. I don't care what you throw up there on a comp or your repairs. And then the standard repairs with wholesale, he's 10 to 15. It's if you're just doing the guessing thing, just use words like it needs a cosmetic repair. It does need some work, needs some love. You know the code words realtors use.
No, it's stupid.
Cozy means small.
No, I know. And so just letting you guys know, your cash buyer, they're going to come with their own MAO. And so MAO is for you, just so you don't get it under contract for too hot. Now, I want to repeat myself. You will not convince them. Let me repeat myself. They say, so you have a deal locked up for $100,000. You want to sell it for 120, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they say, I have to be around 100, 105 on this. You are not going to go back and say, no, you're wrong. You're dumb. You're stupid. It's actually worth 120. You need to pay me this. I know it seems funny to say, but like cash buyers really do this. Wholesalers really do this to cash buyers. Do you try to convince them? You're not going to convince these guys. I mean, you don't get $500,000 just to pour in a property to flip by being stupid. Being honest, like you don't get that money by being an idiot, right? I mean, some do, but I'm just saying, like they have their own formula. And if you're talking to a buyer that's actually flipped 3 or 4 homes before, they have their own way of doing things, and their numbers are really good because they know themselves better than you know them. And so you're not going to convince them. So you just got to be simple. Hey, do you want to buy this deal for $120,000? What does that work? So I'm selling it for. Oh, I got to do 115. Well, 120 is the price. I have other buyers. If you're willing to do it, sure. If not, I'll just sell it to someone else. I know there's a good profit on this one. If I'm wrong with something, please show me and let me know, but that's just what I found. And you can do it respectfully. And they're like, well, no, I can do 120, sure. And boom, you're good to go. Now, you have to understand, and there's a flip side to this, okay? Cash buyers will, and I will say this is not a if you're a guy that's going to make $100,000, which I know most people, guys or gals watching this are going to do this in 2024, right? You will be screwed by a buyer. And what I mean by this is you are going to have the opposite of the boy that cried wolf. You're going to try to sell a deal for 120 and the buyer's like, I have to buy this thing for 70. And you're like, I can't do that. I guess I have a bad deal. And you only talk to one buyer.
Yeah, that's really bad information.
That's bad. And so what I mean by this is you want a value is what someone's willing to pay for it. So if that guy's not willing to pay for it, see what other people are. So what I like to do is I like to talk to a multitude of buyers and get a mean average, right? So yes, there's like I said before, if a deal's worth $125,000, there's going to be with $125,000, there's going to be people that are wanting to buy it for 70. There's going to be people wanting to buy it for 50. There's going to be people that are going to want to buy it for 120, 130. And then like you see, 30 buyers want to buy it between 120, 130, and 2 want to buy it below 50 grand. Does that mean the house worth under 50 grand? No. It's worth over it.
And I hate to tell you, cash buyers are known to lie to you. They're doing the same techniques you are when you're trying to buy the property. They're trying to get it as low as possible too. But I'm going to tell you, just like I tell you when you're dealing with motivated sellers, we're not selling to them. I train my cash buyers. It's a simple yes or no. The only exception is when I have no buyers, then I have to reach. But remember, you're only selling an opportunity. You're not selling a property. You're selling your contract, guys. You're selling the opportunity for them to take on a project and make money. So you guys got to stop looking at these like when you go to your cash, like, I have a house to sell you. I'm a traditional realtor. No, you're not. I make all my cash buyers make fast decisions. Realtors, people will take weeks, if not months, to make a decision. So Zach comes and looks at my property, walks through. I control it. I go, listen, we got 5 minutes. I got to get in and out. I go, listen, let's go out by the car or let's go get a cup of coffee. Hey, Zach, you in at 1:30? And I just look him dead in the eye, dude. I don't sell. And he, well, you know this. And I go, great. I tell you what, come up with your best number. I'm going to have this thing sold by 8 o'clock tonight. Yeah. It's just a simple yes or no with me. And then once you do the takeaway, I'm trying to get him to chase me a little bit. But the minute you start negotiating with a cash buyer, and you don't have the right number, you're not confident in your comps and your numbers, that's when you guys start giving the house away. So get the right number, get under the right contract. We'll talk about that. Make sure you're using conservative comps. You have a range. And then when you go to cash buyers, if you have confidence, let me ask you, when you buy a property from a wholesaler, can you tell instantly if they're confident or not when they try to sell you the deal?
Oh yeah.
Like right off the bat. Now, when the guy gives me 8 comps, I go, let's go. I'll go just like, let's go through the 8 comps. The first 2 comps are complete BS. I didn't even waste my time on the rest of the project. You need to do the same. You guys got to think way ahead of your cash buyers. So when you're confident and they see crap, dude, Rick did his homework. He knows his numbers. He knows what he's got. You ever people say, I know what I got. You've got to know what you got. If you know what you got, they're easy to tell. If you don't know what you got, you're constantly seeking someone else's opinion. And let me ask you this. If I ask 10 different people a question, no matter what it's about, I guarantee you, for the most part, you're going to get 10 different answers. No different with cash buyers.
Oh, yeah. So, guys, you will not convince these people. FYI, they are not dumb. And so what you got to do instead is just get an MAO. Here's cool. Just lock the deal up for so low, you're going to make a ton of profits on it. And so what I mean by this is just find the LAO. LAO. What do you mean by LAO? LAO is not MAO. It is a new, I mean, we kind of coined it this year, right?
Yeah. Every other guru talks about MAO.
So what we do in Flip with Rick is we talk about LAO. What is LAO? LAO is not max allowable offer, but your least allowable offer. What that means is that is the least you can offer a seller without them kicking you out of the house. Simple as that.
That's it. But there's a technique to it.
There's
a technique to it. You can't do it if you're not going to build amazing rapport and try to create conversations, try to create a relationship. So if you're one of these guys that goes in like, what's the least amount you'll take for your house? And if I paid all cash, can you do better? That's the lines I was taught. And honestly, they semi-worked back in the day. But as we've evolved, we're basically asking the same question. We're just asking it nicer.
Oh, yeah. So calculate LAO. And now here's the biggest question. How do I calculate LAO? LAO is simple. It's 70% of MAO. I make it simple, make it easy. So if you deal locked up for 100, offer 70 off the bat.
Think about this, guys. If you have a range, this is your MAO and this is your LAO. If I offer your most wholesalers' tendencies, and I've been doing this over 20 years. I know you guys like a book because I used to do it too, is I don't want to get rejected because God, I grew up in an environment where getting no was terrible. So what do? If the property is worth 200, you immediately go to like 179.5. And then what do you do when the seller says no? You're like, you're screwed. You're already at the MAO. There's nowhere to go. And guess what that seller does? Here's your MAO. Here's the seller. The seller starts to move away from you. Higher. Now, if I reset it and I do an LAO, one of the things how I found this out through trial and error is I handicap myself. So whatever I offered, I just minus off 40 to 50 grand. Now, prices were a lot cheaper back then. And that way, because why? I learned they just give me a response and give me the answer. So if I go to it, if there's my MAO and that's my LAO, if I do the LAO, I know they're not going to be overly happy about it. But what do? I've now set the parameters for the expectations. I'm not chasing you all the way over here. And I'm looking to see if they'll come over a little bit. So the minute they go, 100 grand, Rick, are you nuts? We have started what we call negotiations. Or you can do it the other way is, I'll offer you 179.5. No. I know I told you 200 initially, but it's 205 now because I know you really want the property. So I just detach myself. He says 70%. You want to offer whatever you don't think you're going to get kicked out of the house. Most of you think that's the MAO. That's a joke. So when I get a response, absolutely, Rick, I can't take that offer. You're nuts. I talked to my wife. We can't do anything below 155. Dude, I just saved you almost $25,000 just by doing that. Now, occasionally you will get kicked out. I'm sorry. It means you didn't build enough rapport. But you're going to hit that relationship at the peak. You're going to go with the LAO, and which is what we teach at freewholesaling.com, go for no. And then basically now you have a negotiation. Now he says 155. You said 100. Now we have a new parameters. I just saved you 2 weeks of negotiations. Just trust me on this. I'm telling you guys, it works. You're better off getting the lowest price available. Remember, you're never going to make a seller sell you the house. They already have a number in your head, and you all suffer the disease of trying to be like ESP experts. You try to guess it. Stop guessing it. Get the person to give you the unconscious, their real unconscious. Would you agree 95% of sellers all have a number in their head when you go talk? And whoever speaks first loses. Dude, just do it the opposite. I love with ROS, the ROS postcard people like, you can't give the price. That breaks all the rules of wholesaling. I go, So instead of me say, Zach, what's the least amount you would take for this house? I simply go in with an LAO. And basically I look for a response. And he goes, no. Once he has a response, now we have this thing called a negotiation. Most of you never even get the negotiation. You get an MAO and it's a no. And you're like, what? And then you call us, what do we do? I go, you're going to have to start all over. And by the way, would you agree when you get a price under contract, a house under contract, and you get the wrong price, it is painful to go back and ask for huge reductions. The LAO method, the go for no method, completely prevents this problem.
I agree. I think a lot of wholesalers, they just, oh my goodness, they get so confused, right? And they're like, just calculate the LAO. The point of your first offer is always to get the no.
Yeah.
And I've said this a lot of times, but like I want everyone to understand this, okay? What you do is you do a baby childlike negotiation tactic. So a lot of people think you need to be a real professional with a suit when you're negotiating with a seller. This is logical. No. What you do is you literally negotiate like a child. And what I mean by that is, okay, so there's books like Chris Voss has a good one, Never Split the Difference.
Yeah.
That works, in hostage when it's like, hey, I'm going to go end this guy's life, or I want my money. You can't really split the difference there, right? Yeah. You can't really, well, can you just like cut off an arm or something and say, no, like it's all or nothing. It's kind of high stakes, right? Well, wholesaling is not like that. It's a number, all right? It's not a life. And what I mean by this is you have to do it like a child. And so let me use my Oreo example because it's the best one people really can kind of grasp. I'm an analogy guy. I don't know why. But if I talk to a baby child and they love Oreos, right? I love Oreos. You love Oreos too, right? And if it had Reese's Pieces, you get hungry. So I'm just saying Oreos. But basically what I mean by that is if I give the kid, I'm like, okay, well, tonight you have 2 Oreos for dessert tonight. Some kids, kids, they love to negotiate, right?
Mm-hmm.
The little negotiators, it's the best. Well, what they said, no, I want 4 cookies. Okay, well, you know what? Let's meet in the middle, 3 cookies, right? Right? That's how kids do it, right? But here's the thing. Meeting in the middle sounds like you're losing. But if you meet in the middle and someone has ridiculous terms, the person with the ridiculous terms always wins. So let's say this. I said the person, like, you have 2 cookies. Well, I want 1,000 cookies. Well, can we just meet in the middle? I'll give you 500. Deal.
Yeah.
Who won? The kid won. His demands were so ridiculous. Even meeting in the middle was crazy, right? And so what I mean by that is, for you wholesaling, if you have such a low offer and the seller meets you in the middle, you still make 40, 50 grand.
That's why that technique, it works really well. But if you guys start at MAO and try to split the difference, you will get killed.
Yeah.
If you do it from a go for no perspective, the LAO, dude, you let them suggest the idea and you look like the hero. It was like splitting the difference is you're so weak to do it. No, it just means you're starting way too high in any negotiation you're doing. So if you go for that you could do cars, you could do boats, you could do houses. You can actually win in splitting the difference.
It sounds smart.
It's not a bad book, but like if you're starting like retail numbers, I get it. But when we started at our wholesale numbers, splitting the difference is an amazing deal. It is.
Oh yeah, and you sound very professional. Hey, this is logical, right? This makes sense.
Huh?
You don't sound weird and emotional doing it. And that's why it works really well. So LAO guys, it's the move. This is how wholesalers in the first deal, they're making 50, 60, 70 grand. We just had Jason on. He showed us on the flipwithrick YouTube channel. It was really crazy. 23 deals in a year, right? Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. And he made 73 grand on one of his first deals. Or it was over 70 grand, I believe, if you watch the video. It was a massive deal. One of those was like a huge deal. Because he watched this channel, just like you. And he said to himself, hey, I'm going to go for no, and I'm going to do an LAO. And guess what? It's a little nerve-wracking to give a really low offer, but it's a little nerve-wracking to have a $70,000 check in your hand too. Is it worth it? Hey, I'm just saying, like, what's worth it, right?
Guys, I had 5 years of frustrations. That's how we do the LA and the go for no method, because especially as a newbie, you're like, why can't you use that tactic? It's more powerful than even the newer you are, because it prevents you from making massive mistakes. Trying to appease the seller like you're a realtor, you're not, you're a wholesaler. And so many of you guys are just playing realtor. And so many of these companies have popped up where all we do is focus on dispo. Go get your real estate license. Honestly, if you can do that, just go get your real estate license. You want to be a wholesaler, listen to this. You use the LAO, the go for no method. I don't want you buying every property when you talk to a seller. That's realtor land. They list it. Your job is to find the most motivated ones, get the best deal possible, and we create a win-win situation. At the end of the day, you can't make them sell your house. So you can satisfy their needs. They like you, you show confidence, and you actually create an incredible rapport with them. This is easy. I don't bat 100%. He don't bat 100%. You're going to get rejected more than you get accepted, but it gives you a great starting point. If you do not go for that go for no, on average, it will cut your negotiations down by like 90% because you cut to the chase much faster. But you got to build it up. So many guys walk in the door. What's the least price you'll take? Like,
it's ridiculous. And so,
yeah, it's just a number. You're transactional. We're not transactional. If you want to be transactional, just go in and be aggressive. If you want to build rapport and get the lowest number, invest time, get a relationship, and then use the go for no.
Exactly. And so everyone's asking, like, well, how do I give an offer without the seller being mad at me, right? There's ways. There's the good cop, bad cop method. There is the volume method. There's all these different methods, right?
Scrunchy face.
Scrunchy face. But if you want to learn them, I don't have another hour to drop that off. But if you go to freewholesaling.com, our free wholesaling course, we show you to do it. The reason is it's the best way to learn it. It's fast, easy. You can watch it at 4 a.m. I don't have live streams at 4 a.m. So you can just go do it whenever you want, right? Yep. Literally, you pay me $5,000 to make you a course. This is literally what I do. And it costs a lot of money to run. It's a private server. I can show things YouTube does not allow me to do, like live seller calls, because there's privacy policy, things like that. Give it out for free. Freewholesaling.com. There's a reason why every guru and their mom is upset at me right now. I've had gurus' wives DM me to tell me to stop what I'm doing because their husband is losing money and they can't. And it's just getting harder for them to afford things anymore, right?
Yep.
It's sad. But you go to freewholesaling.com. Gurus are going to keep DMing me. The gurus' wives will keep DMing me, and I'll start making a lot more money. And I know it's controversial every time I say that, but it's true. I've shown you've seen it. My DMs, gurus' wives have DM me, right? And do they DM me nice things or mean things?
It's not very nice.
It's not very nice. And so, gurus, get your wives out of my DMs, especially during Christmas. Don't want them, trust me. But yeah, I'm telling you guys, freewholesaling.com. The reason why these gurus are feeling the pressure is because it's working. I mean, that was a close call.
Yeah, it was.
It's working, and the people are getting results, and no one, I repeat, no one needs to pay $10,000 to learn how to wholesale. Absolutely for free. Go to freewholesaling.com and teach you how to do it. So let's answer some questions and see how I can help you guys out. So love all this. So FYI, William, there's no more sign-ins anymore for freewholesaling.com. There's just a link. You pop it in there and there's no signing anymore. We've had so many people, it's all in there. And so just FYI for everyone, it's easy. You literally just go to freewholesaling.com and you just click the button and you're in. It's pretty simple. Let's see here. All right. So Tyrell says, can you guys explain how to do the same in a rural area with not many comps? That's a great question. If there's not many comps in an area, we like a method called cash flow comps, right?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's called the 1% rule, whatever it is. But basically, find out what the property will rent out for rent, and then divide that by 1% or multiply that by 100. Pretty simple.
You just got to see what the property is going to produce in cash and calculate what the net it would produce over a 12-month period and divide it by the purchase price or the cap rate you want. And that'll give you a percentage, and you can calculate that just like if you're going to put money in a bank. You're going to get 1%, you're going to get 15%. And that's a good starting place to kind of figure it out, especially if the house is ugly, because most likely it'll wind up being a rental property. But I do cash flow comps all the time. They're actually easier because they're very black and white. Comps are very subjective. What one pays for this house, what one pays for that. I love income producing properties because it's all based on the cash, what it produces in cash.
Exactly. This is terrible. If you give the price first, it's game over. No, it's not game over.
Yeah.
Oh, Mark. When I made $100,000 in my first wholesaling, on my first $100,000 deal, I gave the price first. It was so low,
Yeah.
I was able to make $100K. I guess it's game over. I made $100K on that $100,000 on that deal.
So, Mark, the problem with that's old school thinking.
Some guru told you that.
So let me ask you: if they don't give a price and you won't give a price, what are you going to do? You're probably going to guess it, so you can get a yes, and you're going to get a bad contract, and you're going to go through this ridiculous 4 to 6 week process, and you're going to wind up right back here. The problem is, to the point, if they will give, not many motivated sellers just come out and go, I need to sell it for 50 grand. You have to go through, you have to learn about the property. You got to do a quick underwriting. And then more importantly, you got to learn about the seller. And do they have enough motivation to work with a wholesaler like me? A lot of times they don't. And that's just the reality. Most of you guys are talking to the wrong people. But what are you going to do if they don't spit a price out and you don't give a price? You're going to sit there for 4 hours? You can say, what's the least amount you take for your house, Zachary? And they're going to what do you like? That's a crazy question. So we use these methods. Why? I didn't start wholesaling yesterday. I've been doing this 20 plus years. I'm telling you guys, I've been on so many appointments. I know exactly how they all go. I was raised in a world where he or she who spoke first lost. That mentality doesn't work in this world anymore. You have to have a conversation and connect with people because people want to do business with people they trust and they feel understand them. And if the first thing you do is attack people on price like that, you will lose credibility. It makes you seem salesy and fake. Listen, people buy from you. They don't buy from your company. By the way, guys, people don't give a crap what the name of your wholesale company is. Ask me how I know. I've had so many names, it doesn't even matter to me anymore. It's a joke.
No, I agree. That drives me crazy.
He or she speaks first. I'm like,
do you see issues during the reassignment process? It's the assignment process. I'm guessing what you're saying is when there's no permits or upgrades on upgrades. If there's no permits, it's more of a cash buyer issue than anything, and it won't really affect title too much. I mean, always there's a violation or thing but usually if it's a upgrade on a house and there's no permits of it, it's kind of, I mean, there shouldn't be any issues on it because then the cash buyer will fix it up, get their permits and stuff like that.
Cash buyers, 9 times they know they're buying a project. See, if you have traditional financing, they won't let any of this stuff go through. So these houses need a cash buyer, but you just close everything to them because it's the right thing to do. And number two, you don't want to come back screaming, but they know what they're getting into when they do it, and they buy it without the permit, knowing they have X amount of days to fix it. And then you introduce them to the city employee so they can work it off and you're free and clear. Because a lot of times the title company will, if there's a code violation, they'll write the title outside that code violation. And then the new buyer gets 30 days to make effort to apply to rectify the problem. The cities are aware of it. They like when new people buy the properties and get them right. It's when you ignore a property for 5 years, it ain't going away. And that the fines have to be paid and then transferred over and then fixed. So, but yeah, this is why we want cash buyers. We have problematic properties. So if you had traditional financing, if it's not perfect up to snuff, they'll never even finance the property.
No, not even close. Brandon says, do you guys think wholesaling will be around in 5?
Oh, Lord.
Brandon, we've literally talked to you one-on-one before. You've literally hopped on.
Brandon,
he's done wholesaling deals. Bro, yeah. Wholesaling has been around for hundreds of years.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere, dude. It's written in the Constitution.
It's called the contract clause in the Constitution.
Brandon, they told me it was going away in 2003. What year are we in? Approaching 2024. Seriously, you gotta you can't let fear run your life.
Gurus
as long as there's real estate around,
because they give you something to scare you, and then they sell you the solution, right? What gurus do is they try to break your leg and then sell you a surgery for your leg, right? We have to understand is wholesaling will be around in 5 years. If the United States of America is around in 5 years, then yes, because the contract clause in the Constitution says. So actually, let me show you because I could say things. Gurus say things all the time. Let me show you the proof. Let's pop up the Constitution.
And why you're pulling that? Everyone's all worried about this bill about hedge funds are not going to be able to buy. Dude, Your politicians are deeply embedded in BlackRock, all these companies. Your 401ks, everything, never going to
Well, no,
pass. It's not going to pass. There's no way.
Okay, so basically what he's saying is a senator made a bill, a left-wing senator made a bill trying to stop hedge funds from buying houses. That same senator was also a person who introduced a bill. When people introduce bills, they introduce bills that will never pass just to do it, okay? Just to say they tried. What I mean by this, someone said stop hedge funds from buying houses. First of all, they'll never pass in the House because the House will never allow that. On top of that, too, that will go against the Constitution, which basically the Supreme Court, who is very conservative, will cut that down too. Now, on top of this too, and we understand this, the same person introduced a bill to ban jet travel in the United States of America for climate change. And so, yeah, he introduced that bill. And so none of y'all were saying, oh, is the airline aviation industry done because they introduced a bill? No, it got denied. It didn't even pass to a vote because the leaders like, we're going to look stupid if this thing gets. So yeah, no, that thing will die out like every other one. What they guy in Maryland he introduced a bill to ban wholesaling in Maryland. Every guru said, they're banning it. It's happening. And they said, let me buy my course. And then guess what happened? It failed to vote because it was against the Constitution. Duh. And so literally, if people introduce, so basically, let's see. Let me go pop it up here. Let me explain this. Contract clause. All right, let's go to, all right here. Oh, remind me later. Let's go to the Cornell Law Library. All right, here's the Cornell Law Library, FYI. Article 1, Section 10, Clause 1.5 of the Constitution. Article 1, Section 10, Clause 1 of the Constitution clearly states, no state, okay? This is the federal government. Let's make this bigger for everyone to understand this. Why wholesaling is not going to be illegal, okay? No state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, confederation, grant letters of marque or appraisal, make money, emit bills of credit, or make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts. Pass any bill. So no state is allowed to pass a bill or a law impairing the obligation of contracts, grant, or title of nobility. The obligation of contracts, and basically what they're saying here is the forced operative statute, but we're the abstract law, we're pass above clause. This is all legal jargon, judicial decisions, whoever, constitutional rights. And so we have a right to form contracts. And so you can basically go off of basically how any of this, but it's basically just allows you to write contracts. And so what it does is there's no law, okay, that can be passed in the United States of America federally. So no state can do it because the federal supersedes it to stop citizens from forming and being obligated to contracts. What I mean by this is they can't make a law saying, oh, you're not obligated to any of the contracts you write anymore. You can't form contracts anymore. No, you can't do that. Contracts are literally the foundation of common law, which came from England to the United States. So how our entire law system is based off of contracts, obligations, and things like this. You got to understand, when you sign a mortgage, you're signing a contract.
You're
signing a contract. And so, like, I'm telling you guys, stop freaking out over this. Unless the United States goes to poop, we're fine. And so, yeah, as long as the Constitution's good, and you got to remember this too, how the Supreme Court works. There's a 6-3 majority on one side, and that side that is a 6-3 supermajority are very, very strict on what the Constitution says. They don't do any leeway. All right. What does it say? Well, it says that we're not good, right? Mm-hmm. And so, FYI, like I'm not really too worried about it because I believe in the Constitution. Gurus don't believe in the Constitution. They think we can rewrite it and change things. And sure, but I read what the Constitution says. It'll be shot down pretty quick. Chris says, Zach, would you say it's fair to do 0.75 ARV? Oh, Lord. That is really bad. No. You're trying LTVs, cash out refis. No. Okay.
You're trying to calculate based on everything except wholesaling. So how else do I tell you? You don't need a course. You need a deep discount, and then you got to sell the discount to the cash buyer. But like your hard set formulas, because if you do wholesaling right, you really mitigate your risk as long as you're responsible, and the reward's off the hook. So let me ask you, if you make $1,000 with little to none of your own money, what was your return? It's like mostly infinite. And then you take that same skill set and you learn how to make 5,000 and 10,000, 20, 30, 50, 100, so on. That's it. But you guys got to like do some walking before you do some running. And these hard set rules, I've never ever subscribed to this 70, 75%. Here's the reality. If I'm buying a house for 200,000 and I got someone that paid me 210,000 and like they're locked in, left a deposit, signed an assignment agreement, do it. Who gives a crap what the percentage is, right?
Exactly.
If I'm making 10, 15 grand, what if it's 96.2? What if it's 78.7? Like you guys get so hung up on numbers because the incredibly challenging part for most of you, you guys are taking your old mindset, you're bringing in the wholesaling because you're excited about it, but you're trying to use the old rules in the matrix in wholesaling. It doesn't work that way. I would love to say, here's the math problem. This is it. But the problem is you're focusing on the math. And the reality is you need to be focusing on the individual's needs. If you focus on the seller and try to help them out and solve a problem, you'll make money. If you sit here at 70, 75%, you're going to be stuck all day.
Exactly. And so I'm just letting you guys know you're overcomplicating this. And so Brandon says, I'm not gurus. I'm worried if it's hedge funds. I'm worried they're buying all the houses up. Well, Brandon, you're worried because you don't know your information. Humbly. What I mean by this is, let's look at the numbers. All right. So how many houses do hedge funds own? Hedge funds and private equity firms and endowments currently own 574,000 properties. Okay. Let's look at how many homes are in the United States of America. Brandon, do you think there's 1 million houses in the United States of America? There's 144 million homes in the United States. That's crazy. That's a lot of houses, right? And so if we do the numbers here,
I'll do it.
Let's do it. 577 divided by 144 million. Hedge funds currently own 0.5% of all the homes. And so I'm not really too worried about that. And let me look at the numbers here. Let's do this here. How many houses are built each year in the USA? There's about 1.4 million. There's 1.4 million houses are built a year. There's 3x the amount of new homes being built, being sold to individuals than there's corporations in total even buying. That's how crazy that number is. And so I think you're way too worried, man, right?
Listen, we like hedge funds. It gives more options on it. They're never going to pass a bill to prevent it because all our monies are tied up in 401ks and stuff like that. But the only reason it's got traction because hedge funds never really got into the single family home market before, ever. So they've gone from 0 to just under 600,000. People think, oh, they're going to take over hundreds of millions of homes. They're not. Sorry. There's only so much they can pay. And we're going to see if they made a good decision or a bad decision. But I wouldn't worry about it right now.
No, and then I'm telling you that something like that will never get passed because there's just not enough votes for it, and it's pretty stupid. And so yeah, and I think something about I think it was just and so they try to do a hedge fund. Let me pop it up. Hedge fund ban on homes, and so. And so basically what it says here, and we'll do this really quick, is it one of these like private things? Is it a video? Oh, Lord.
Yeah, don't do that.
Doing that. All right. It seems unworkable. The 50 million threshold for hedge funds is by breaking up funds. So I think it's stopping people from buying up to 50 million.
Well, it's a part of it. They have to divest their investments over a 10-year period.
Yeah. And so basically saying
Well, remember, guys, once the government starts dictating who can buy what, we would have massive problems. There's no way. I mean, we can't even stop foreign nationals from buying whatever they want in the United States. Why are you going to ban like legitimate companies in the US that actually have funds? And here's the problem. Homeowners want it. They want to be paid top dollar. So
purchasing single family homes, blah, 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 blah. Owned more than as of June. 574,000 houses are owned. Let's see here. Blah, blah, blah. Ban hedge funds from owning single family homes and require them to sell at least 10% of their total amount. Subject hedge funds to a $50,000 per family home per year tax.
I mean, guys, this is just like this is $50,000
per house tax per year. Wow,
guys. From everything I've said, they're
banned from owning any houses. Imposes a 50% tax on the fair market value of any future house bought.
Yeah.
Ensure the tax.
If this passes, we give the government the ability to dictate who buys what for how much and what the tax is, everything on it. It's never going to fly. And if it did fly, we would have serious concerns because can you imagine? Like you have to do this, and this to buy a house, but anybody from China or Russia can come over here and buy in the U.S. without any questions asked.
No, that's it. Yeah, I'm not getting political.
Okay.
But like all I'm saying is that's never going to pass because those are the same people that want to ban jet fuel and air flight, and that didn't pass, and they're just doing their own little stupid thing there. Guys, don't worry about it. They own 0.5% of all the homes. Don't worry about it. So guys, go out here, read the Constitution, read the Constitution tonight. Make sure that you're wholesaling safe. Don't worry about it. These gurus don't know what they're talking about, and they obviously have never read the Constitution in their lives. But guys, got any value from this video? Do me a favor. Make sure you go to freewholesaling.com. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe. Make sure you go out here and be safe. And yeah, go out here and wholesale some houses, make some money. Appreciate it, guys. This is Zach signing out.
Rick signing.